Hi everyone, something a little different for us all. Normally we do decor and gardening and all kinds of fun stuff, but today I wanted to show you one of our favorite recipes in the morning. The holidays are coming and sometimes you just want a little something special. Don't worry, there'll be more coming at you. If you start to like these kinds of videos, I'll be putting shorts out like this and maybe in full-length videos of cooking and baking. And I will have, if you do enjoy this, I will have a recipe that's a pumpkin-based for this season. But right now we're going to make blueberry muffins. It's a lovely weekday morning. Why not? Why not on the weekday as well? And I'm going to make some blueberry muffins. This is our favorite recipe. So here we go. The first thing I do is I take a cup of blueberries. In this case, I used the wild Maine blueberries from Wyman's. I love those blueberries. They're the mini ones, the wild Maine mini blueberries, and I think they work great in muffins. I do that with a tablespoon of flour and I mix it up so this way it won't turn the batter blue and it won't get sticky, especially when they're frozen. So I do that and I put that to the side. And then what I like to do is I measure out the rest of the ingredients. I'm gluten-free. I have an autoimmune disease, so I have to go with gluten-free. You can absolutely substitute this with regular flour, but I use an all-purpose gluten-free flour. I love the one from Walmart. It's my favorite one. You always want to make sure if you are gluten-free that it's already mixed with xanthan gum. It just makes it a whole heck of a lot easier. Although you can add that later, I tend to like it with it. So that's 2 cups of the all-purpose gluten-free flour. It's a basic gluten-free flour. A half a cup of organic cane granulated sugar, and a half a cup of brown sugar. Sometimes I just like to mix it up. You can absolutely, and I have done in the past, use regular sugar. Me personally, I use the organic cane granulated sugar, but I would have done a whole cup of this. This time I'm gonna do the brown sugar because why not? I felt like it. And then we have 2 large eggs. You want them out as early as possible because you want them at room temperature. It just mixes better and makes everything come together better. I take about a 3/4 cup of milk. So what I do with this milk, let me tell you what I do. I do about halfway, I take a can of coconut milk and mix it with water in a pitcher because it's something that I easily can handle, but I've also been known to use almond milk. You absolutely most certainly can use regular dairy milk, but I use up to a half a cup, and then I do a half a cup of a heavy cream. Again, you can use a regular heavy cream. I like the Country Crock plant cream. It's great. There's a recipe on the side for whipped cream, and yes, we do make that, folks. I'll show you that another time. So I do a half a cup of the plant-based milk, and then I do a little bit like a 1/4 cup of the heavy cream. Just so you know, you can do a 1/4 cup of yogurt of some kind, whether it's the plant-based dairy-free or it's the regular, and you can use the half cup of plant-based milk or regular milk. You can do one of those options. And then I put a teaspoon, if I didn't confuse you with all that, but just want you to know the options. All of that along with a teaspoon of lemon juice, and I put it in a little pitcher like this, and I let it set aside because we want it to get like a buttermilk consistency. So we let that sit and kind of ferment a little bit. Then we have 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. You want all natural vanilla extract if you can, but you can use the imitation. You will taste a difference though. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. And I mix it together and put it to the side. I take 2 more tablespoons of the granulated cane organic sugar and I put it to the side because that's our topping. We're gonna sprinkle that up on the top. Put that to the side. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Make sure it's gluten-free if you're gluten-free, and aluminum-free, by the way, too. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just regular iodized salt, a half teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. You can absolutely grind it yourself with a microplaned grater, and you take the nutmeg and also with cinnamon, and you can kind of scrape it over. I've done that once, but I usually chicken out and just do my store-bought because it's easier for me. And then I take a stick of plant-based butter. I've been known to use grass-fed butter because I can handle grass-fed butter only. But today I'm gonna use the plant-based butter. I like it. I am in no way sponsored by Country Crock. I just really like their products. The first thing we do is preheat our oven to 425. Regular oven, not a convection oven. So a regular oven for 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we spray our muffin tins, which I've already done, and you set those aside. I spray that with a non-stick coconut oil spray. I do those things first, and then I gather all of my ingredients and I set them aside. Then I take with a whisk my flour, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, and nutmeg. And we're going to, with a whisk, mix them around. It kind of sifts it, makes it light and airy. You can sift it as well, but I like the whisk. I like to use 2 large bowls. It just makes it easier so things don't go flying all over the place, because I can make a big mess on the counter if I don't. So I'm taking another large bowl. I'm going to take my 1 stick of room temperature butter. We're going to mix this for 1 minute. So I start off light so it doesn't go flying all over the place, and then I start upping the number here so it goes a little bit more. I timed my timer for 1 minute, and we're going to do this for 1 minute to get it nice and creamy. And see how easily it blended together. I really like the plant-based butter, but also it's room temperature, so you can't really do it really cold. It's just hard to work with, and it really, when you have 2 different temperatures going on, it can really destroy the recipe. So you really want it at room temperature, all of your ingredients. So we did that for a minute. Now we're going to add our sugar. We're going to mix that in. We're going to mix it again for another 2 minutes together with the butter. It'll be clumpy at first, that's okay. We want this to blend really well together. On occasion, I will use monk fruit instead of sugar. I try to be as healthy as I can, and sugar's not a good thing to have constantly. So one of the things that's safest for me to have is the monk fruit. So that's an option for those of you who can't handle sugar, or maybe you're diabetic. This is an option to have monk fruit instead of sugar. It doesn't leave an awful aftertaste, and it's not like a sickly sweet taste. So it's a very good substitute option for you. You want to scrape your bowl. You want to make sure it's all blended well and that you don't have it uneven. You don't want sugar crystals, or you don't want to have, you will be some, but you don't want it sticking to the bowl and not mixing evenly. We're going to beat our eggs in one at a time. You want them blended in well before you add the next one. To put all of our extracts that are mixed together, the almond and the vanilla mixed together. So now we're going to do half our flour. We're going to alternate. Just half the flour, and start off low so you don't have it all over the place. I like to use the hand mixer because you have more control over it. You don't have a bunch at the bottom. And then we're going to take our entire milk mixture, and hopefully it's fermented a little bit. Any residue at the bottom, try to get with your spatula. Just until it's just mixed. You don't want to over mix it. I'm going to take the rest of our flour and get on low so it doesn't go all over the place. It'll be a much thicker consistency. Go up a little higher, but you want it just until it's mixed. You don't want to over mix it. I'm going to take my spatula and just make sure that even on the bottom, got all that flour. You really don't want to over mix it. So it's good to do maybe like a fold so it's not over mixing. Then we're going to take our floured blueberries and we're going to fold them in gently. The great thing about this, if you're very cautious, the blue that bleeds through, that purpley color, will give you a cool marbled effect. It will turn slightly blue, but the flour really helps it so it doesn't do it completely. You'll get a really cool marbled effect. So next, in our greased pan, we're going to take our 1/4 cup, just a 1/4 cup measuring cup. You can use a large cookie scoop if you want. I like a 1/4 cup because it really measures out really well. And I, let it heap over a little bit in the cup. And that one maybe needs a little more. Don't be afraid to use your fingers, but if it really bugs you, you can use a spoon to scoop it out. Just make sure your hands are clean. And then once you've thoroughly washed your hands, we put a little sugar on top. Just make sure it's nice and even, the best you can. Pop this in the oven at 425, and as soon as you put it in and shut the door, immediately put the temperature down. That's just to heat them up, and it slowly starts cooling down as it's in. It's going to bake really precisely and beautifully. So we're going to put these in the oven at 425 and then immediately turn it down to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to set our timer to 27 minutes. They're going to cool in the pan when they come out for 10 minutes. After that, they're going to be taken out very carefully because they're still going to be hot, and let them cool slightly for another 5 to 10 minutes. You can serve them right away, but the longer you wait, and try to keep them warm, but about that 10-15 minute range is where they're still warm, and they might even be piping hot, but they start to get more structure to them so they don't fall apart in pieces, especially when they're gluten-free. When they're regular muffins, they probably won't fall apart so much. But anyway, that's our blueberry muffins, and we'll show you how they all came out. And there you have it. It makes 12 beautiful muffins. As you can see, it has a little bit of that marbling. And it's delicious. Breakfast time.